Good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this new edition of the 1515 Mayors Energy Talk organized by Energy Cities. Energy Cities is the European network of future-proof cities, bringing together more than 1,000 local authorities across 30 countries in Europe. In the 1515 format, we give the floor to local elected leaders to share what they are proud of and also what challenges they face in their local energy transition. The concept is simple, 15 minutes where Energy Cities ask questions to the deputy mayor, followed by 15 minutes of questions from the audience. So please feel free to start writing your question in the chat at any time. A quick reminder that this session is being recorded. And today's conversation focuses on how Mechelen is paving the way towards fossil-free heating as part of its ambition to decarbonize all buildings by 2050. We all know that heating and cooling are major sources of energy use and emission in our cities, so changing how we heat our own homes and buildings is a crucial step toward climate neutrality. So we are very pleased to welcome Patrick Prinsen, Deputy Mayor for Public Works and Environment of the city of Mechelen in Belgium. So welcome, Patrick, and thanks very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
As it's a short format, I will jump directly to the first question I have for you. So as I said, Mechelen has the ambition to decarbonize all buildings by 2050. Can you tell us in a few words how you plan to get there and where you stand today?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm very happy that I can talk to you, everyone. Perhaps it's necessary to give a little bit more information. When you look at the Flanders, and Mechelen is in the Flanders, 90% of the whole households in the Flanders are still heating their homes with gas or fuel oil. And it only represents 14% of total greenhouse emission. So to reach our climate targets, 1,400 buildings in Mechelen need to switch to sustainable heating every year between now and 2050. So that's an immense goal. We have 42,000 households in Mechelen, so that means that we have to make a big switch. At Flemish level, that means more than 100,000 buildings a year. These numbers sound enormous, but nothing is impossible. That's a little bit our adagium in Mechelen. Yeah, it has to be done, so we are going for it. What are the biggest challenges lie in integrating heat supply with spatial planning? So spatial planning, new buildings, but all existing building, new, great plants. Yeah, it has to be in it already. Yeah, the change to sustainable heating. We had to renovate energetically all the existing homes. I said already we have 40,000 homes, so we have a long way to go. We already have renovate, I think, 25% of all those houses, and the new houses are already confirmed. But we need to go further and further, and tapping into collective heat sources. And of course, there are also financial challenges and the need to create broad social support. This, I think, for a city like Mechelen, and I don't know who is everyone who is here, but for when you are a local authority, it's the best role and the best place to do that, because we are very near to the citizens, and they can direct come to us, and we can give them all kinds of information and aid to succeed in their own transition to fossil free. So it's important. We have already a local heat strategy. We have a local heat plan. We know which neighborhoods we can set on collective heat sources, and we are started already with that transition. In Mechelen, I said already, we are very ambitious. Everyone knows in Europe we are very ambitious. We want to innovate. We want to go forward. And 2 years ago, we organized what we call a transition arena. with a wide group of stakeholders. It were who was in the arena. It were citizen, business, energy providers, cooperatives, welfare organizations, financial institutions, and different layers of government. I think it's very, very important that every stakeholder is in that transition arena. Only through shared insight and cooperation can we move forward to a fossil-free future that includes everyone. This process, I'm a politician, I'm elected, includes also politicians. For 6 months, I worked across party lines from extreme right to extreme left and all the other parties in the center with all their representatives and of every political family to create a charter for a fossil-free Mechelen. Why did I? And I did it with success so that eventually every party signed the charter, and I guaranteed that our heat transition will continue, no matter which coalition governs the city. I think it's very important that, I don't know if there are other people who are elected or other politicians inside, but it's very, very important that when there is an election and there is another party in a city that governs the city or a government, that it continue, because a plan to decarbonize all buildings, you need a view necessary for 25, 30 years. And if it changes each 4, 5, 6 years, and you are stop with it, then you never reach that goal. So it's very important you reach a certain consensus. You need a certain charter so that every noses are in the same direction. And we already now have concrete projects. We have a Keerdok. Keerdok, it were old buildings. It was also an old swimming pool that's now became a hotel. And that there we realized already geothermal energy from wastewater with geothermal energy storage. And it gives now already the heat to more than 300 new homes. We have another place where we're now starting to build new business center, but also more than 2,700 apartments and houses. And there we also start at this moment a warm net, and it's based on geothermy, but also on aquathermy. And another place, an old neighborhood in Otterbeek, there we created an energy community where social tenants share solar energy produced on their roofs, and project that shows how the transition can be fair and inclusive. I think it's very important that we have some of these examples already, where we have more than 1,000, 2,000 households already who we met in that collective system. That's thinking a little bit how we are going further and further, and that it's also possible. And you see it for new projects, it's much easier because you can build everything from nothing. But in the existing households, so we have the Vesten. Some know it perhaps in Mechelen. The Vesten, it's a 5 kilometer around the city, where are a lot of apartments. And in that Vesten, we changed the mobility completely. There was a lot of struggle about it and a lot of discussion about it, but we created a lot of place also on that Vesten. We won, I think, 20,000 square meter, and we are going to use that 20,000 square meter to put a warm net in it. And then we connect all the old apartments on a central heating so that we can go and give the warmth on a fossil-free base. But it takes a lot of investment and a lot of planning also, but we're on the road.
Thank you. That's a very good overview. I'm sure we will have other questions on this. I found very interesting how you describe this de-risking leadership, making sure that other all political groups have a buy-in for your strategy to be sure that this is something that stays in the long term. we've talked about different kind of factors, but how do you engage citizens and companies in these journeys? Like, how do you convince them that it's important to act right now, to invest right now, to decarbonize their building?
Yeah. It's very important because heat transition is not only a technical challenge. It's certainly a technical challenge, but it's all above human challenge. People need clarity, confidence, and practical support. I said already, that's absolutely necessary before they are willing to change how they heat their homes or buildings. We started it with clear communication. Our heat zoning map shows where district heating will be rolled out and where individual solutions like heat pumps are a better choice. This helps individuals and companies plan ahead with confidence. It's absolutely necessary you be clear about the future. Where are we going to create collective heating and where it's individual? You have to be clear, otherwise you made as government the wrong investments, but the private and the companies do also, and that's not good. Next, we offer personal guidance through our home integrated renovation service. We help citizens navigate technical options, subsidies, and renovation decisions. We launched the Check Your Boiler company. It's campaign. It's something little perhaps, but by doing this, you see your energy factor and how to do something on it. And we are also providing free maintenance that deliver immediate energy savings and increased safety. Also, the combination, it's not all about energy, it's all about comfort, it's also about safety. And it's important that everything you do about the energy transition is in a more greater idea how you create a better future, comfort, safety for the people who live in Mechelen. We also take a neighborhood-based approach in Neckerspoel, a district with many old households. We activated investment decisions in 8% of homes within just 6 months. So we're choosing for a collective approach also. We bring them together in a kind of market, an energy market, and we answer on all those questions they have. Even if it has nothing concerned with energy, we try to give an answer.
Okay.
By guiding homeowners collectively and working closely with contractors. Also, the contractors are already there, so they can also give the practical solutions or also give how much it will cost. And on the same time, we have a kind of subsidy, a kind of loan we can give if they don't have money on their own to do that. We give special attention to apartments. You have to know that more than 33% of the Mechelaars, they live in an apartment, in a collective house, I say, which often pose governance and financial challenges. And through the Condoreno project, supported by Europe, we work to accelerate renovations in these complex ownership structures. With companies, our approach is similar, clarity and support. Through the GRID project, also Europe, we work closely with industries in our 2 major industrial zones. We act as a one-stop shop for the climate and energy questions, and our specialized energy broker, we have someone who contacts them and who they can ask everything, helps them explore solutions such as energy sharing or developing local heat networks on the industrial sites. Finally, the HEAL Coalition. After Transition Arena, we have a heat coalition, brings all those actors together, citizens, the corporations, grid operators, business, social organizations, and political decision makers. This broad alliance helped us detect concerns early, share knowledge, and build long-term trust. So we convince people by showing that transition also works. I give already the example of the Keerdok, of Otterbeek, the Vesten. So that's important that you have some positive examples to show it works, and it has an effect on your comfort. It has effect on your the prices you have to pay and so on. And that's very, very important. That's why we try to convince them, and that it's now the right time by leading by example and by supporting them on all the different facets they ask.
Great. And the more you go, the more positive, successful examples you will have to show. So you will have more people on board. It's interesting. You really have a whole governance approach to a very technical topic. So it's very important to highlight that. You mentioned that Europe is supporting you in some projects. The European Commission is now preparing a new heating and cooling strategy to be released in the coming months. From your perspective, what would you like to see in this strategy to help a city like Mechelen to accelerate their transition? How can Europe support you even more? And please stay short because we want to keep time for questions. Thank you.
So, to be clear, already mentioned it. Europe is for Mechelen a driving force. I'm glad we have Europe, and they support us, and that's superb. But when you ask what give the future, we have local authorities because we are a city, but we have 90,000 people who live here, but not a big city like Paris, Brussels, London, or so on. So also we, as little city, we have some lack of capacity, tools, and funding. I have to be clear, we can do it on our own. So because you need some studies, you need to coordinate large social projects and also on. District heating network that demand also research, and a city like us, also we are a big city, we can't do that on our own. So networking is very important. Network in Europe, learning by others who are already further. So we are lucky. We have in the neighborhood Leuven. They are also with their university and so on. We can lean a little bit on that, and they lean a little bit on us. I said already a few weeks ago, also in a panel, that perhaps we must create the Dijle Valley. We have a river, it calls the Dijle, and Leuven and Mechelen are on the same river, 25 kilometers from each other. If we look a little further and bigger, then we can, if we take Leuven and Mechelen together and everything what's between, you can go to a larger group of people from 300,000, 350,000, and then it becomes for a lot of investments and so on, very interesting to invest in that and work together. I think it's important that Europe continue in providing consistent funding. So cities can scale up district heating and renovation programs. Perhaps on a larger scale, more working together in networks, but that's very important. We need clear European frameworks. If we want to go fossil free, it must be clear. We have to, as quick as possible, we need a fade out of fossil energy. That's very important. And that's something we can't do as local government on our own. We need the pressure of Europe that asks national Belgium to go quicker. That is important. And then supporting local capacities, for example, funding role like or energy broker. We need some people to do that. But and I always say it's not all about money, certainly not. It's about networking, but it's also how can we can we support also the Europeans? Everyone need to be in the transition. So it may not be a we may not lose us in technical discussions, in political discussions, but it must be clear for the Mechelaars, for the people of Italy, for I don't know where, that's the future. And it's also important that we become, why it's also become fossil free and do that transition. We see now also, Trump said it yesterday, Europe is in danger.
Yes.
We are and we have to become independent. We have to become independent of fossil.
That's
And
a
the all
strong
and
message.
yeah,
Sorry, just want to make sure we have time for the
yeah,
questions,
okay,
but we got your
yeah.
main points. Funding to scale up, also not only networking, capacities, and clear framework direction. There is there is already a few questions in the chat, some very precise one that maybe we will try to have follow-up afterwards. But one from Martin Raska, how can the municipality of Mechelen spread the risks and limit the financial vulnerability? I think it's a question on how you balance this risk, considering the investments you have to make. Let's take this as a first question, then there are others that are coming.
I think creating that charter and creating the heat coalition is already an answer to spreading the risk. If you have a lot of stakeholders, private business companies, the owners of houses, the government, Flanders, Belgium, Europe, and also the financial stakeholders, then we have already a spread of the risk, also financial. It has to become from everyone, and we have to convince them to invest in it. And I said already, you can only do that if there is clarity, if there is a clear path to the future. So, yeah, that's then the most important.
Yeah.
You have to walk together. Alone you go quicker, but together you go further. That's very important. I know it's also a quote, but you have always to look back and you have to spread your risk. If it's and you have to take everyone with you. Also, people who don't have the money, business who don't have the money, you have to search solutions so they can also go in that step by step further to fossil free.
Right. So the force of the collective to spread the risk. One questions on the cooling aspects. Do you have plans for district cooling or at least collective cooling in Mechelen?
Yeah, dus all the new warm nets we create are also cooling nets. So because we don't have here in Mechelen big industry, or we don't have a part where there comes a lot of energy creation, so on. But we take a lot of warmth out of the geothermal out of the bottom. So and we put the warmth in the ground again in the summer. And so we can use it for cooling also. I think it's not only about creating that kind of cool net. Another thing we do also is the adaptation. The adaptation measures we take in Mechelen. We are planting a lot of trees. We're creating a lot of green. We are bringing the water back in the city. So that also create a cooling down effect in Mechelen. So by doing that, we reduce also the necessity to cool by heating, by cooling.
Yeah.
So, but the most nets we create are doing the two. In the winter, they bring warmth, and in the summer, they bring coolness. Because but we have to watch it very good. That's technical, that we don't overheat our grounds underground, so that but it's in the two ways.
Great. So a strategy is broader than just the district, but also having this aspect.
Not only energy transition, it's also on adaptation of city, creating each we have the 300 role, we call it, that where you are in the city, you have to see 3 big trees, you have to 30% of shadow, and 300 each 300 meters we have to have a green place where you can go and it's to be.
I think cooling is a very important question, and we have also produced a paper at Energy Cities with example from all around Europe. So if you're interested into cooling, you can have a look at that. I have more questions for you. So in Mechelen, who is owning the heat networks? We have discussed about them and their creation or extension. Who owns the heat networks? And second question, what is the involvement of the city in setting energy prices on the heat networks? I think this comes with question also about social aspects and how we also need a fair transition. So do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, it's who owns the network. It depends. Sometimes it's a private company who create the buildings, who build the buildings, or it's that. So some they are owner, some it's an energy company who is owner, but there is also a kind of contract with the city. So, and in that contract we give some directions in what they have to go. That's for the new buildings we create, the new neighborhoods we create. For the existing neighborhoods, we're working together now with Fluvius. Fluvius, I don't know if you know, but that's the big company that's in hands of the government, but not only the Mechel's government, but that who's responsible for all the gas distribution, the electricity distribution, and so on. It's not an energy company, but they are responsible for the infrastructure to create the infrastructure of a warm net. And they are our preferred partner to do the investment in that kind of warm net. And then afterwards, you have a contract with an energy provider, a warm provider, a cool provider, and that company has to work together with us in the heat coalition in all the things that we ask to do. But so we're still a little bit searching. We're not at this moment say that's the price, because there is too much concurrence of gas and fossil fuel still. It's too cheap still. So it's that's something we can't decide about the prices of that, of gas and fuel. So we can also not say now this is the maximum price of the warmth heat or the energy you need, but we see it become less or more on the same level, and we watch on it and we go in discussion with that. But we have already some, but the biggest warm nets we are now preparing and creating together with Fluvius, and they are our preferred partner. But it's also possible with other partners, but it's not standardized like all the electricity infrastructure or the gas infrastructure, and that's a problem. I think we need Flanders, and in this case Flanders, has to give some regulation or a good framework, so that's always everywhere the same in all cities and so on.
Thank you. I think we will take a last question, and then we will have to conclude, and we will make sure to send the question to you or your team, so that the one that were not answered, and be sure that everyone gets their answer. Last question is on energy community. You mentioned it, but it's specifically about heating. Is energy community a suitable mechanism for group heat supply network? Like, do you operate energy communities on heating in Mechelen?
The energy communities, like Kliman, the cooperative, they are not still in the warmth.
Not yet in Mechelen.
Not yet. They are in the heat coalition, and they are searching. They are more at this moment in all what concerns electricity. I know the same group of people. They are already started in a little local entity in the neighborhood, but that's for 50, 60 people, households, but they are there they are trying to exercise there and try to see what is going on. But now they are coming also to Mechelen, and we are discussing with them how we can do it together. And yeah, the big advance is that at that moment, all the infrastructure, but also the benefits of the warmth network and the warmth they sell goes back to the citizens also from Mechelen. And that's a group from, I think at this moment, 1,500 people who are coming together to do that investment also. So it's the future, I think. But it's not at this moment already.
It sounds good. Thanks a lot, Patrick. You received very nice feedback in the chat saying that you're one of the most inspirational politicians in Europe. And this was a very insightful discussion on Mechelen pathways to foster clean heating. It's very inspirational to see how in your city you combine the ambition, also the governance aspects, participation, to make sure this transition happens. And thank you for everyone who joined us today. We will make sure that Mechelen teams get your question and that we can answer all of them, because it was great to have a lot of questions in the chat. We hope you found this discussion useful and full of ideas for your own work. You can check Energy City's website and newsletter so you don't miss the upcoming events, and already mark in your calendar the next date for our annual forum that will be in April 28, 29 and 30 in Guimarães in Portugal, where we will for sure discuss about heating, decarbonization of heating, and have a representative for Mechelen, I'm sure. Then have a great day, everyone, and thanks again, Patrick, for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you, and everyone, and you're all welcome in Mechelen. I guide you through Mechelen. If you're in Belgium, come to Mechelen. Okay, see you again. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.